This is not just another great environmental program. What we're talking about really, it's an idea, it's a dream, it's this vision, it's a quest, if you will, that over this 10 short year period, what started here at Fort Bragg has now spread out to over 40 Army installations around the globe, to include folks in Hawaii, Alaska, in Germany. We've got 5 National Guard, state-wide organizations that are involved in this effort. I've had the pleasure to kick off about 4 of those. So this is something that's really spreading out there. We are in many cases leading most of the federal government right now in the work that we're doing. And it's everything from our sustainability campaign plan, the Army strategy for the environment, but also the fact that we were the first within the federal government to publish an annual sustainability report. Much like the Fortune 500 do, they publish a corporate sustainability or a corporate responsibility report every year. Others have followed in our wake over the course of the last year. We were the first in the federal government to complete a comprehensive inventory of greenhouse gases, which is extremely important because in that executive order that was laid out by the President, it requires us to set certain goals and achieve certain reductions in greenhouse gases. And again, the first all-important step of that effort is to understand what your baseline is. And so, in many respects, your Army is out there on point, leading the way. The triple bottom line, you've seen it on the slide, but really what it boils down to for us is a vision, if you will. And that triple bottom line is made up of 3 components that you saw on the Venn diagram: mission, environment, and community, which are all 3 integral elements on any given day. One may be a little bit more important than the other, but they have to work together to gain that all-important synergy. For us, obviously, the mission comes first, accomplishing the mission, taking care of soldiers' families. The environmental aspects of this are important because it's the traditional air, water, soil, land, natural resources, training areas, things of that nature that really allow us to not only be good stewards of the environment, but also to reinforce that mission and also reinforce certain aspects of the community. The community is really 2 communities for us. One is the community within the fence line of the installation itself, where in many cases we can do a lot to do good in terms of taking care of things and ensuring good air quality, good water quality, and water quantity, if you will. Our solid and hazardous waste programs can be the greatest in the world. But the fact of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, is if we do those sorts of things that we're doing right now in our installations to have great air quality, water, hazardous waste and stuff, hey, that's great, we're doing good on Fort Bragg. But guess what? If the people north, south, east, and west of us, outside the fence line, aren't doing the same thing, then in some respects, our work is all for naught. And so that's really the other aspect of community, is what's outside the fence line. And that's what led us to the Sustainable Sandhills initiative that Greg Bean mentioned earlier, that we began here to bring in the 8 or so surrounding counties and municipalities so that we could, seek buy-in and work through partnerships. And I know John Parsons and others are going to talk about this later, but Bill Ross, who was the former Secretary for Environment and Natural Resources, and I kind of co-chaired that effort to launch this. And we're seeing this phenomenon in other installations, throughout the military as well. At Fort Carson, at Fort Hood, at Fort Lewis, these partnerships are developing with the local communities in a very, very powerful way. And so as you look out there on that map of these 40 installations all over the globe, it's not just what's going on, within the context of the military, but it's also a bigger effort in terms of what's going on in the local surrounding area as well. And it's truly a model that many folks are looking at adopting throughout the country as well. The other key element of this triple bottom line plus, it struck me about 3 years ago, and we kind of modified it to the triple bottom line plus, because what was missing from that Venn diagram was what I shared with you earlier, and that's the economic benefit of what we're trying to accomplish. It just doesn't jump out at you when you think about mission, environment, community, and so we added this plus factor to it, which is to tie not only to business transformation, but it also helps us reinforce the importance of the economic benefits of what we're trying to accomplish and what we're doing. And so when you hear us talk about triple bottom line at the department level, it's triple bottom line plus, because we want to make sure we accentuate the positive aspects from an economic perspective. Right now, soon to be signed by the Chief of Staff and the Secretary, is the Army's campaign plan for sustainability. And we have been working on this sustainability action plan for a number of years, since 2004. It never really got to where we wanted it to be. And again, in an effort to make this mainstream, not just some appendage that we add on, but to make it truly an enabler of the Army mission, and truly something that folks will be able to understand and that we can implement in support of the overall Army campaign plan. Based on guidance from our Vice Chief of Staff, Pete Corelli, we embarked on this effort to develop this campaign plan for sustainability, which, once signed, it'll provide guidance that'll go out, Army-wide, both at the department level and all the major commands, that will really help us reinforce what we're attempting to accomplish through sustainability. And then as a result of that, we would anticipate implementation plans that would support the overall campaign plan. So that's out there on the horizon. The United States Army is a force of good in this world. As I think about sustainability, it's a vision, if you will. It's looking to the future. It's looking down the road, 20, 30, 40 years to try to visualize, okay, what will Fort Carson look like 40 years from now? What sort of requirements will we have in place that we need to preserve today for the future? And so that's really what a lot of what we're talking about is all about. It's really looking down the road, 20, 30, 40 years, trying to visualize what we think the situation is going to be, and then backcasting to where we are today so that we can start developing those plans and those programs that will allow us to get to where we need to go. And it covers a whole spectrum of activities, from our utilities to our training lands, to just those things that allow us to take care of soldiers and soldiers' families.